What is up? What is up? What is up, man? Thank y'all for tuning in. Happy New Year's Eve. Last Wednesday of the year, man. It's about to go down. Appreciate y'all tapping in to the page and to the live stream. Today we are going to be talking or reacting to a video by Blood Moon Stories 3 on YouTube. You feel me? This story is going to be covering how Jake Paul and Logan Paul got arrested for allegedly fixing the Anthony Joshua fight, scripting it, and scamming the fans out of their money. You feel me? Personally, I thought it was a decent fight. I already knew Anthony Joshua was going to lose. It was Anthony Joshua was going to win. But there's been a lot of things that have transpired since that fight has happened. If you didn't hear, I just did another stream the other day on Anthony Joshua getting in a huge car crash. A week and a half, almost 2 weeks after the fight was over in Africa. Two of his friends were unalived, and he made it out. But they said it was minor injuries, so I'm hoping that it's nothing too crazy. It's just, I know he better be grateful to the Lord above that he was even able to make it out of it. But even my mom was saying that something was suspicious because of that accident happened. Like the timing. Timing is always everything, and coincidence, and it can drive the narrative to either work for you or work against you. So either way it goes, this video here should be interesting. So let's go ahead and get it cracking. Let me go ahead and get the screen right for y'all. Let me actually go check in on YouTube real quick. Make sure we are live on the tube. And then I'll make sure that we are live on the Twitch. Make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. And when you do tap in, put a W in the chat or in the comment section, so that way I can acknowledge you and we can get this conversation started too. Like, I like to talk to my viewers, you know what I mean? So if you say something, I'm going to reply. So let's go here. YouTube channel. Oh yeah, we are live on YouTube. Let me check the Twitch stream. Paul Brothers allegedly. Yep, let's see. And we are live on Twitch. There we go. Okay. So let me go ahead and get the screen right. It's raining like a mofo over here right now, man. I guess you got a guy trying to purge, the rest of the dirt from the rest of like that happened this year, so we can go into the new year with a clean one. You feel me? Let's go here. Share the screen so you can see what I see. Do you see what I see? I bet you do now. All right, let me get the right screen over here. So y'all can still see me, but y'all can see more of the screen than you see me. All right. Once again, shout out to each and every one of y'all for tapping in. If you're on the Twitch, say what's up. Put a W in the chat so I can say what's up to you back. If you're in the YouTube, put a W in the chat so I can say what's up to you back. And let's go ahead and get these conversations started. All right. That's enough talking. Jake Paul won't line this up. Make sure that that's muted so we don't have a echo. And let's go.
He's so big. He's so much bigger. Bro, he got hit with a bomb and breaks his jaw in two places. Don't do this very long because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, is it really worth it anymore? Jake Paul got knocked out cold, and honestly, his career as a legitimate boxer, that's over. Like, done. Finished. We need to have a real conversation about what that moment actually means, because this isn't just another loss we're talking about here.
All it takes is one punch to completely ruin your life.
Jake Paul just retired in the only way boxing ever truly forces honesty on someone. And let me tell you exactly what I mean by that.
Hold on. Jake Paul actually Retired? I doubt it, man. He probably gonna take a break for a minute, but anybody getting hit the way that he got hit, I could understand him taking a break. You feel me? Because boy, that fool Anthony Joshua relocated his face.
He retired by taking the kind of damage that literally ends the conversation for you, whether you want it to or not. We're talking about December 19th, 2025 at the Kaseya Center in Miami, broadcast live on Netflix for millions of people to witness. This was marketed as real heavyweight boxing with real professional rules and real actual consequences that you can't just edit out or spin into content later. And here's why that distinction matters so much. Because once Anthony Joshua dropped him repeatedly throughout that fight and broke his jaw in not one but two places, retirement immediately stopped being some kind of speculative topic that YouTubers debate in comment sections. It became the only logical outcome, the only path forward.
Give me 2 seconds, y'all. Babe, I'm on live right now. It's okay. Go ahead. Tune in. Okay. Love you. Mwah. Happy almost New Year. Yeah. Okay, baby. Toodle. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. You know, I got to check in on the babe. She called. I'm going to answer. But I got you. Here we go.
Makes any medical or professional sense whatsoever.
Ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it, and that he could do well for a little bit. Yeah. And then eventually just deal with the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to connect with a bomb.
And let me break down exactly what happened in that ring.
That's what happened.
Because the details here are absolutely crucial to understanding why this is so final. Anthony Joshua knocked him down 4 separate times. Twice in the 5th round, boom, boom. And then twice again in the 6th round before the referee finally stepped in. Now that sequence matters enormously, and here's why. This was not a flash knockdown where you get caught by one lucky shot and the commentators can say, oh, he just didn't see it coming. This was not some fluke moment that you can explain away with bad timing or a slip. No, this was repeated, systematic failure under pressure. This was a fight being methodically broken down in stages, piece by piece.
No, you want to know what this is? This was the humbling of Jake Paul. Like a lot of people try to say, like, well, yeah, I mean, give him credit that he actually jumped in the ring. Listen to me. I could go jump in a ring. Don't give me credit for being stupid fighting the freaking world champion, knowing that I am not on that same level. I'm all about, you know, believing in yourself and having a dream and trying to prove the naysayers. But there are levels to this ish, and that's for everything in life. So my biggest thing to tell y'all is, bro, stay in your lane. They be like, who are you to tell us to stay in our lane? You know what you can do. You know what he knew that he was not going to beat up Anthony Joshua in this fight. And he should have just took the fight with Gervonta. But honestly, I feel like Gervonta would have did the same thing. Honestly, he would have knocked him out too. But this knockout was just brutal because it's coming from a heavyweight, broke his jaw. Yeah, bro, he learned his lesson, I hope.
So the referee had absolutely no choice left but to end it for his own safety. And you need to understand something critical here. Retirement stops being a punchline or a joke or something people speculate about on Twitter when you literally cannot protect yourself anymore in that ring.
Style that would align with a ring that size, a negative style, as we mentioned. It really comes down to the fan interest. Jake Paul is on a 2-fight stretch coming into this one, which really put his reputation on the line.
Then came the injury.
I didn't realize he had 15 fights already.
Conversation permanently. The moment where this stopped being about pride or record or comeback narratives. We're talking about a confirmed double broken jaw, fractured on both sides of his face. Think about what that means. Immediate transport to the hospital, no post-fight press conference because he physically could not speak, like his mouth would not function properly enough to form words.
That fool just kept on falling down.
Immediately. Then came the liquid diet that lasted weeks. Then the wires holding his jaw together while the bones tried to heal. And at that point in the story, retirement is not about emotion anymore. It's not about wounded pride or what fans are saying
That's about,
online.
bro, you
It
can't.
becomes medical. It becomes a decision that doctors and surgeons are making based on structural damage to your skull, not something you can hype your way out of or promote your way past.
28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it. It's not worth it. And that price is depression, deep depression, a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction.
So before the fight, what was he?
Make sure y'all put y'all W's in the comments if you like what you see so far. Also, just put a W in the comments so I can see who actually is in the room, and I can say hello to y'all because I appreciate y'all tuning in. You know, tapped in with your favorite dark-skinned friend with a beard. Unity, you know what it is.
Selling to everyone. Invincibility, confidence, the idea that he belonged in that ring and could compete at that level. But after the fight ended, he was counting recovery weeks like a patient, swallowing his meals through a straw because his jaw couldn't handle solid food, and dealing with the kind of reality that no amount of social media spin can fix. You cannot talk your way out of structural damage to bone. You cannot talk your way out of bone failure or fractures that require surgical intervention.
Nope.
This is where retirement stops being hypothetical, where it stops being this abstract thing people discuss. This is where it becomes the only realistic option left on the table.
300 million
This
plus
is crazy.
in his boxing career. How old?
All right. Give me just a second so we can go to the next part.
300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
29 and
Look at that. So he's 28 years old. 29 next month.
When a fighter leaves the
There
ring
we go.
unable to
We're
sleep,
lined back up.
unable to eat solid food, and unable to deny or downplay the level of damage his body just
Yeah.
absorbed, the sport
Welcome,
itself
welcome,
makes
Twitch.
the
I see y'all
decision
over there.
for him. The conversation around Jake Paul changed that night in Miami because his own body answered the question louder and more definitively than any promoter or manager or hype video ever could. There's no spinning broken bone.
It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career.
Yeah.
It's you could only take so much.
The boxing world did not hesitate for even a second after that fight ended. And I mean, they came out swinging with opinions immediately. Former champions, respected analysts, commentators who have been around the sport for decades,
Everybody had an
they all
opinion.
went straight for the truth without sugarcoating it. They called it a mismatch from the opening bell. They called him exposed at the highest level. Some went even further and said his career was completely done, finished, no path back. And here's what stood out to me about the reaction. The tone was not emotional or bitter or personal. It was corrective, like the sport was finally clearing its throat after years of being forced into politeness, years of pretending that celebrity boxing and real professional boxing existed on the same plane.
just everything that's happened in my life. Like, I was taking L's after L, and I just mean that in that sense. I don't mean it just by like success.
Duke McKenzie, former world champion, laid it out cleanly and technically without any
That's the
drama.
only
Jake
shot that he got in
lunged
the
with his
whole fight.
punches instead of snapping them properly. His balance completely collapsed under pressure every single time Joshua applied it. He stumbled over his own feet, trying to reset position.
And
He
broke,
reached
didn't he say
upward
he
with
broke his
shots
ankle?
and missed repeatedly because he was simply too short to reach Joshua cleanly without overextending and leaving himself exposed. Every single technical flaw that had been carefully masked against smaller opponents or older opponents or compromised opponents
Mhm.
was dragged into harsh daylight all at once on that stage.
Jake Paul tried to throw a shot, he would lunge in, jump in, and because he was so short, he'd miss. And then he ended up stumbling over his feet and falling over. Sometimes in that fight, he reminded me of, have you seen that Kung Fu film called The Drunken Master?
Michael Bisping,
The
former
Drunken
UFC
Master.
champion, who knows what real combat looks like, focused his analysis on something else entirely. And it was almost worse in a way. He focused on restraint. Anthony Joshua did not need to be reckless in that fight. He did not need to chase or take risks or go for highlight reel moments.
Hell no, he didn't. I honestly thought that Jake was going to get knocked out earlier, but it's good that he went 6 rounds. It was very sloppy. Like dude said, every time he went to go do it, he was too short. He couldn't reach Joshua. So then he'll trip over his own feet. It looked like he broke his ankle at one point in the fight because that fool had the wobbly legs, boy, and didn't even get hit. Crazy ass. Anyways, once again, I need y'all to put your W's in the chat so I can see who in here. I want to say hello. Let's go.
He just let his power and patience do all the work for him. And here's the most damning part of Bisping's breakdown. Jake never once worried him. Not for a single moment. No wobble, no panic, no moment where Joshua had to change his game plan or respect Jake's
grabbing
power
that nigga
or
leg.
adjust his strategy. The difference in class and skill level stayed painfully
Shoulda
obvious
knew it was
from
over
the
right
opening
there.
bell all the way through to the stoppage, and everyone watching could feel it.
You know, when you're young, you think that you can live forever and you think that you're invincible until something happens. We also happened to Muhammad Ali. So there's a deeper story here is that life's a marathon, not a sprint. So whether it's fighting, whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's money, you're going to be 30, you're going to be 40, you're going to be 50, and PBD, you snap your fingers, boom. Just like that, you're going to be 60.
Analysts across the board
Shit.
leaned heavily on the
I'm telling
numbers
you,
after the fight because
time is moving
numbers do
fast
not
right
care about hype or narratives or social media followings. Joshua landed 48 clean punches throughout the fight. Jake landed 16. Let me repeat that. That is not competitiveness. That is not he hung in there. That is survival math. That is one fighter trying desperately to just make it out alive. Joshua never had to overextend himself. He never had to gamble or take chances. He just waited patiently, adjusted his timing, and the collapse came right on schedule, exactly when everyone with experience predicted it would.
And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a
He
certain
took that
number.
punch though. He got back up.
The framing of
He didn't get up in time, but he got back up.
changed instantly after those numbers came out. This was no longer a debate.
My thing is, could you imagine how hard he got hit? Imagine if it was a street fight and that fool hit him with the same intensity, same angle, same anybody. If he broke both his jaws with a glove on, just imagine how hard Anthony Joshua really fucking hits, bro. Without a glove. Oh my God, death. That's why they got to get their hands registered, and they consider deadly weapons because, jeez.
About boxing ability or potential.
It made my jaw
or whether
hurt thinking
Jake
about
Paul had improved. It became a simple, uncomfortable question of how long Jake could physically survive in a ring before his body gave out entirely. The conversation stopped being about wins and losses and legacy, and it shifted to whether he ever belonged in that ring to begin with, whether this whole experiment was doomed from the start.
He weighed 216, but he's doesn't even have abs, right? At 216, he can easily weigh 190. Yeah. I'm sure he can make 190. Yeah. Anthony Joshua's gigantic. So big. He's so big. He's so much bigger. So of course, like
the game plan Jake Paul used told the truth long before the
crap.
knockout
My
ever
bad,
landed.
Go ahead and get this thing caught up with the rest of it. Anyways, like I said, I'm glad that y'all are here today, tapping in with your favorite dark-skinned friend with a beard.
And if you
Hold on, I'm trying to get it lined
understand
back up.
boxing at all, you could see it immediately. They used an
There we go.
oversized 22-foot ring, which is huge by modern boxing
I'm trying to
standards.
tell you that ring is
Constant
big as
backward
hell.
movement throughout every single round, north to south, running instead of the lateral footwork that actual boxers use to control space.
Boom,
This
boom.
was not ring generalship or
A
control.
wrap.
This was evacuation. With
And that
gloves on.
thing looked like it hurt.
Clinching became the default reaction to any pressure. Wrestling tactics inside a boxing ring, leaning on Joshua, grabbing, holding, collapsing into the referee
Doing it
whenever
all.
possible. And
Oof.
analysts did not call it clever or strategic. They called it exactly what it was.
He got one hit in.
Desperation.
That
You
shit didn't
clinch
even
when
move
you are
him.
completely outmatched and buying seconds. Not when you are executing a confident game plan.
if he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
The problem, and people pointed this out immediately, is that Jake started as a famous kid from YouTube, and then no one in the actual boxing world took him seriously as a real contender. There was no attempt visible at any point to actually win rounds on the scorecards. No sustained combinations, no pressure sequences, no moments where he tried to impose his will. Everything in his approach pointed to one single objective only: avoid damage, stretch the fight out, make it look respectable enough that people do not laugh. The optics were absolutely brutal to watch. A heavyweight boxing bout reduced to evasive survival theater. Commentators openly mocked what they were watching in real time because it was impossible not to. This was a man running for credibility, not running toward victory, and the consensus hardened quickly across the entire sport and stayed there. This approach confirmed what everyone suspected going in. Jake knew he could not win. He was there to endure, collect the check, and escape with his health. And eventually, even that last part failed.
There's a clip of you on the ground after hitting. You say,
Wow. Whoa.
I want to start posting content.
Joe Rogan said what everyone else in the combat sports world was tiptoeing around, and he did not.
What's up,
bother
T
to dress it
Messing?
up
What's up,
or
baby?
soften the message.
Appreciate you
He called
tapping
the
in,
fight
big dog.
a brutal reality check and told Jake Paul directly to retire, not someday down the line, not after one more payday or one more comeback fight. Now, immediately. And Rogan was not reacting as some keyboard warrior or hater with an agenda. He was reacting as someone who has watched fighters up close for decades, someone who has seen what they pay for damage decades later when the cameras are off and the money is gone.
They put your teeth back in when they pop out like that, or are they gone forever?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. But it's just wired shut for like 6 weeks now.
Rogan specifically talked about eating nothing but protein shakes because your jaw is wired shut. And he made it clear
the Kanye
this is not
going
just
on.
an inconvenience. He talked about cumulative brain trauma like it was a ticking clock, because in combat sports, it absolutely is. Every concussion adds up over time. Every heavy shot you take subtracts something from your brain that you never get back, not with rest, not with treatment, not with anything. That one punch from Anthony Joshua was not just a single mark on a scorecard that you move past. Rogan described it bluntly as the equivalent of multiple concussions delivered in one single moment, one hit that eats through years of
That
accumulated
fool hit him
tolerance.
so hard.
Is that 96 million or whatever worth you having brain damage for the rest of your life? And this is the thing that this is to me, besides the Tyson Fury's brother, this is, you're going up against a real fighter. This guy, if that boxer punches you in the face in the street, that's assault with a deadly weapon. He's a trained.
Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just tell y'all that? Bruh, the fact that he hit him so hard like that with a glove on and dislocated both sides of his jaw, bruh, imagine if he didn't have no glove on and he hit him the same way. Jake Paul would probably be dead right now. You feel me? They talking about 96 million for a concussion or some brain damage. He would have been dead. Bro, there's levels to this. You know, I really don't mess with Jake Paul at all either. I just like the fact that he be showcasing other fighters. It'd be the other fighters on the undercard that I be watching. You know what I'm saying? We watch him just to see, you know, if he gonna get knocked out. And it finally came to fruition. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and keep this thing going. They got me with some clickbait like a month. Maybe it's on the last part of this video because they talk about Jake and Logan Paul arrested for allegedly fixing the fight, but they ain't said nothing about this crap yet. Hate clickbait.
Jaw fracture became the symbol that everyone needed to finally stop pretending this was okay or sustainable. Doctors and analysts made it absolutely clear this was not just a facial injury you ice and forget about. When your jaw breaks on both sides, the force behind that impact does not politely stop at the bone. It transfers inward through your skull.
Tell me.
Head trauma does not announce itself with a headline the next day. It shows up years later as memory loss, emotional instability, depression, impulse control problems that seem unrelated. Rogan talked openly and seriously about fighters sliding into addiction after careers full of hits just like that one. Gambling, drugs, alcohol, self-medication for pain and mental health issues they do not even recognize. He said no amount of money is worth that bill, and he meant it.
in his lower jaw.
Oh, you can show.
Yeah. Science. So science is right there and there.
Psychologists and body language experts went even further with their analysis after the fight. And honestly, it was uncomfortable to watch them break it down.
How your day going today,
They
T
analyzed
Message?
Jake's final moments in the ring frame by frame. The eyes, the posture, the hesitation before exchanges. They described fear, exhaustion, and helplessness. And they were not talking about hype fear.
Hold on, y'all. I'm over here trying to talk to the chat. I didn't see that this thing kept going.
Or promotional fear. They meant real threat detection.
He almost back. Hold on. Damn, boy, he knocked him in that face so hard. Could you imagine getting hit like that? Nope. Just trying to wait till they get back to that, to this picture with him with the face cast. There we go.
The kind where your body knows it is completely outmatched before your conscious mind catches up. They talked about how cornered he looked, how his movements stopped being tactical and started being purely instinctual. That was not strategy anymore. That was survival panic, and everyone could see it.
But whatever it is, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Because in so many of his fights, like the Nate Diaz fight, he gets tired in the later rounds. In the beginning, look.
And through all of it, the same point kept coming back over and over like a drumbeat. Money.
Hold on, bruh. Fold in half. Jesus. Like every time I see that punch, my neck start hurting, bro. I'm just like, wow. And that's all he could say too when he got hit. He was like, whoa. Feel me? Like, damn, you can stream and watch at the same time? Bro, I'm so new to all of this stuff. Like right now it's crazy because the way I'm set up, I got my laptop sitting right here. I'm using my one phone for my audio. I got my other phone to look at my both my chats, my YouTube and my Twitch chat. You feel me? So, and I know it's a simpler way to go about doing this, but I'm in the garage and not upstairs in the studio because I like to smoke when I stream. You know what I'm saying? So I can't smoke in the studio. Nah, man. Nah, not having it. Hold on. Let me check this other stream real quick. Yeah, his chin was crying to the crowd for help. Miss Franklin, you is not lying. Miss Star, I got you. Appreciate you. W's in the chat, Miss Star. W's in the chat, Miss Onya. Hey, baby. Happy almost New Year. She said happy almost Miss New Year, Miss Star. We love you too. We love you too. All right, man, I'm gonna get back to the video. Once again, I appreciate y'all tuning in. We are live here on YouTube and on Twitch. Make sure you put a like in the comments. Put a like, press the like button. Keep commenting like you are. Share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we're gonna keep this video rolling. Let me go back over here to the Twitch screen real quick. Appreciate you ladies for tuning in here on YouTube. Appreciate my boy Teeny Sings over here on the Twitch screen. Over here, helping your boy get his numbers up. All right, let's get it.
Does not undo brain damage. A wired jaw does not protect your memory 5 years from now. A big check does not rebuild neurons or reverse trauma. Rogan said the quiet part out loud that people avoid saying. This is exactly how careers end badly. When people refuse to listen to reality until reality forces the issue.
Like, that's a killer. This is a weapon. So is it worth the money? I don't think any money is worth that. The brain, like we talked about this when I first came to VT.
While experts were talking...
I don't know. 96 million is a pretty big chunk, bro. Y'all tell me in the chat. Would you get in the ring and get knocked out like he did for $96 million? Man, you got me. I'm in there. 96. I don't care what brain damage or what neuron I done lost after he hit me that hard. Well, I know when I get up, I got enough money to go to the doctor to try to fix whatever else is going on. If it can't be fixed, I'm living life with 96 million. Y'all got me messed up. On TV, let me see. Get serious effed up on TV. Nah, not for me. I feel you, bro, but forget that. 96 million, I can do whatever the hell I want for the rest of my life for 96 million. My kids would be good if I had them. My family would be good, which is still around. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't worrying about nothing. And I can help so many people. You know how many people you can help with $96 million, bro? That's 100 M's. 100 M's. Y'all don't even understand. All day, every day will be in every continent. There will be clothes and shelters all over the globe. I'm just saying. I'm taking the 96 million. I don't care. I'll retire after that. Oh well. I got knocked out on TV. I'm still here.
Seriously about health and long-term consequences, the internet went absolutely feral with reactions. The tone flipped fast. Disbelief turned into celebration. Relief turned into ruthless ridicule. Memes flooded every timeline within minutes. Clips replayed endlessly on loop. People were not just reacting to a loss or a knockout, they were reacting to years of marketing and hype finally colliding violently with physics and reality.
Less than a decade, he has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
Jake Paul, the boxer, faded into the background almost immediately after that fight. Jake Paul, the promoter, took center stage. And that is what people started focusing on. Salesman, showman, viral engine, content creator who happens to box sometimes. Analysts said he sells spectacle better than he sells actual skill. And honestly, that might have been survivable if he just accepted it and leaned into that role. What made it unbearable for people was pretending the spectacle was the same thing as victory or legitimacy. The puncher's chance argument that his fans kept using got absolutely shredded publicly by anyone with experience. Analysts called it pure fantasy. You do not get a puncher's chance against an Olympic-level heavyweight champion who knows exactly what is coming and how to approach. That logic works in bars and backyard myths.
Did you hear that too? He's not just a heavyweight champion, bro. He's an Olympic champion, which means that he represented our country and went overseas and kicked ass from every race, from everybody. That's different. It's people that be in amateurs and they fight 100 fights in Mexico before they even become a pro. You feel me? Stuff like that. But to be an Olympic champion, that I feel like that's bigger than being a heavyweight champion sometimes, because like not everybody gets a chance to go to represent for our country and just dominate. Yeah. Jake Paul had no chance, bro.
In professional rings with real consequences. When you are facing someone like Anthony Joshua, size, timing, and experience erase fairy tales fast. As retirement talk spread across social media and sports news, Jake's own messaging made everything worse. 1 minute, he was joking about fighting again in just days. The next minute, he was posting updates from surgery, liquid diet, stiffness, pain, wired jaw, swelling. The contradiction was glaring and impossible to ignore. You cannot sell invincibility while simultaneously counting recovery weeks and posting hospital photos. Analysts started predicting what everyone with sense already understood. This is not a short break. This is a long pause at absolute best and a quiet retirement.
I told you, I'm so new on Twitch. That's my first time ever replying to somebody specifically because I didn't know how to do it. I just happened to just hold the message that you said, that you had just sent. And it was like, oh, reply to that person. So that's cool on Twitch. Thank you very much for my high inquisitive mind and heavy finger. Oh, man. Man, y'all make sure y'all shared, man. Subscribe and share. Those two are all of it's important. I'm just happy that y'all here. But I'm trying to get these numbers up. I'm trying to get this page up. I'm trying to, get past all these different tasks and challenges that Twitch and YouTube got in order for me to actually get monetized and actually make money to do this. You stream on what else on YouTube, right? Yes, sir. My YouTube is, hold on. Now that I know how to do this. Yes, Sersky. My YouTube is at Tizzle. We are actually streaming live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Yeah, man, that's how I like to do. Kill two birds with one stone, you know? There we go. I got two lovely ladies on my YouTube right now, Miss Star and Miss Cook. Love them both very much. All right, we're gonna finish this video up. I think I'm trying to see if I want to just keep this video going, or, you know, for content's sake, end the stream and then just start another one with a new video. I think I'm gonna just do it that way so it stay on task, you know. If there's things that you guys would like me to react to or want me to talk about, let me know. I'm willing to react to pretty much anything. You know what I'm saying? Except for babies and stuff getting hurt. I don't want to. So much evil in this world. Hold on real quick. Okay, yes, I did reply to my boy over there. Make sure my YouTube is open. Okay, we back. All right, let's finish this up.
At worst, the injury alone demands serious time. The lack of viable opponents who make sense demands even more. There is no clean path back to credibility after a loss like this, combined with that level of documented damage. Behind the scenes, the conversation turns even colder. And this is the part people do not see. Sponsors start looking at risk instead of reach. Platforms look at liability instead of views. Broadcasters look at medical charts and legal exposure instead of pay-per-view projections. The fun stops when the product starts looking fragile and unpredictable in the wrong way. When insurance companies start asking questions, when the cost of another fight starts out.
You know what? There's another video that I was going to do with the Jake Paul stuff and Anthony Joshua before this one. Instead of making two Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul videos, I'm going to just go and watch this one because I feel like it's going to be better. Because this video, though informative, it was very clickbaitish because they didn't talk about nothing about Jake Paul and Logan Paul getting arrested. And that kind of pisses me off. Shout out at Big Sink. If you know, you know. Check out my YouTube page or my Facebook, Les Franklin III. Look at them reels. I be going in, man. Yeah, we're gonna do this one. This was the one that was the original one I wanted to do, and it sounded more juicy anyway. That was just crazy. Anyways, he almost killed me. Jake Paul emotional retirement announcement. Still on subject, still on topic, so we're gonna just keep it going. That way, I got a chance for some more people to try to tune in if they tuning in late. You feel me? All right, let's go. Let me find that. I got the audio right there. Yep. Boom. Start this one over. This one, this video is coming from UFC Unfiltered News. They got 32 subscribers. They did this about a day ago. So we're gonna react to this. Let's see if this one is a little bit better.
I'm still, after all the fights you've had, in awe of the fact that you do what you do. It's mind blowing to me.
Thank you, man. Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to get beat, but it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there.
I can't really.
When this fight was first announced, you had said something to the effect of this would end Jake Paul's career.
That really pisses me off.
Do you think that Jake should continue to box, or what do you think the future holds?
Yeah, I really take my hat off. So, I mean, we have to see if it is a broken jaw. Those injuries are very difficult to come back from. But as AJ said, look, that last shot.
Jake Paul just got his jaw broken in 2 places, and his boxing career might be over forever.
We're talking about a devastating 6th-round knockout by Anthony Joshua that was so brutal, so completely career-altering, that Paul is reportedly walking away from boxing entirely. This wasn't just a loss. This was a destruction. A double jaw fracture requiring immediate surgery, titanium plates, removed teeth, and now retirement rumors that have the entire...
Man, shout out to my dog on Twitch, man. Team S Sings. He just went and subbed to my YouTube channel. Y'all can do the same thing. I appreciate you. Make sure y'all share it so we can get this family growing. ADED family all day, every day. You know what I mean? Hold up, man. I just wanted to give that shout out because he just let me know that he did that. So I'm going to go ahead and send him that. Power up. Oh. Heck yeah, man. Open that up. What up, YouTube? We in there. All right, let's get it.
Combat sports world asking one question. Is this really the end of Jake Paul's boxing
Looks
journey?
like a brick inside.
Then
Heck
I
yeah.
got dropped.
He got hit so hard.
But yeah, I was doing good. I just think my cardio, just the mental pressure of the big guy and sparring the big people is different than the 10-ounce gloves. So I was feeling his power a lot more. But it was a great experience. Like, I learned a lot in there.
I'm sure he did.
Oh, are you in pain? Yeah, but it's not from like talking.
We're talking about what your jaw feels like because you got
It's like a baseball in there. And then,
here's what nobody saw.
You know how them people be Cowboys, they be eating that chew. That's what his crap looked like. It looked like he got a big old ball of tobacco in his mouth permanently.
Coming. Paul entered this Miami showdown as the confident crossover star who'd been building serious momentum in professional boxing. He wasn't supposed to be just another YouTube personality playing around anymore.
Did y'all see it? It don't matter. Look at the
real opposition and was genuinely trying to cement his status as a legitimate force in the sport. For 5 rounds,
the side by side was crazy.
One judge had him winning 2 rounds before everything went sideways. But then Joshua unleashed that devastating right hand, the same weapon that's ended championship fights for years.
Yeah, his chin
Paul's
gone.
world changed in an instant. The punch didn't just knock him down. It shattered his jaw in 2 separate places, sent him crashing to the canvas, and left him requiring immediate surgical intervention that would reshape his entire face with metal plates and screws.
In face every single day. While I could be playing soccer in Saudi. I'm friends with the Saudis / football. I was on the A team in 7th grade. I have a really good.
But here's where this story gets even more intense and frankly terrifying from a health perspective.
Yeah, we lined
Multiple
up, right?
sources close to Paul are saying he's absolutely exhausted and mentally drained from the kind of punishment that comes with fighting elite heavyweights. This wasn't just about losing a fight. Paul absorbed a beating throughout the contest, getting knocked down multiple times, and each time he got back up, you could see the toll accumulating. The kind of punishment that a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua can dish out isn't something most fighters ever experience, let alone someone still developing at the professional level. There's even audio circulating where someone mentions a titanium rod in a hand, adding another layer of medical
Yeah, let me see. Shit, the height differences. But yeah, bro, this fight was like a real modern David and Goliath, for real. Like the giant versus the regular. I don't know what he thought he was gonna happen, but he wasn't allowed to use a sling and some rocks to hit Joshua in the head, in the middle of the forehead with. He had to go mano a mano. It was a different fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it looked like he got a straight baseball stuck in his chin, for real. Once again, thank y'all tuning in, man. Here on the Twitch. Every day. We streaming every day. I got to do 30 days straight. You feel me?
concern to this entire situation. According to people in Paul's camp, that final knockout blow and the subsequent surgery have made him seriously reconsider whether continuing down this path is worth the long-term health consequences.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the time.
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, oh, this is your. He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson.
And get this wild detail that's been floating around online.
You can't even count the Nate Robinson fight, okay? Nate was a midget compared to him. You feel me? That would have been the same thing as Gervonta fighting him. But Gervonta been fighting all his life. Nate Robinson, like I said, is a basketball player. People just got to stay in their lanes, man.
Apparently a clip where Paul says something about retiring from boxing, followed by some bizarre comment about getting $1 billion to prove a message. Look, Paul's always been provocative and unpredictable, but the timing of these statements, coming right after major facial surgery and weeks of recovery ahead, suggests this might be more than just typical Jake Paul controversy. The reality is that injuries like a double jaw fracture aren't just physically painful in the immediate
Double
aftermath.
jaw fracture.
They're career-defining moments that force fighters to confront some harsh truths about what they're willing to sacrifice for this sport. When you're eating through a straw for weeks and your face has been reconstructed with titanium plates, the glamour of boxing starts looking very different.
I'm a cokehead. My rebuttal to that was, I'll tell you what, you can test me randomly for the next 5 years.
No, we lined up.
If I can test you randomly for performance enhancers for the next 2 years, and I never got a response on that.
This is why Jake Paul is on PEDs. Within this past year, Jake Paul has literally hit a second puberty and aged like 10 years.
This is why Jake Paul is on PEDs.
Like and people like Jake Paul are going to the best skin doctors in the world and probably are taking hair loss products that aren't even approved for the rest of us. Now, I'm not saying that Jake Paul necessarily took a...
Eddie Hearn, who's been involved in promoting this fight and has never shied away from bold predictions, didn't back down from his pre-fight warning that this bout could legitimately end Jake Paul's boxing career. But after watching it actually happen, his tone shifted to something much more serious and reflective. Hearn wasn't gloating about being right. He was genuinely concerned about what comes next for Paul. He explained that injuries like this aren't just about the immediate damage you can see. The recovery process is brutal. You spend months away from sparring, which means your timing gets rusty, your reflexes slow down, and your rhythm in the ring deteriorates. Then there's the psychological component that nobody talks about. The fear of re-injury that creeps into your mind every time you take a shot to the face. Hearn has seen fighters never fully recover from moments like this, not because their bodies can't heal, but because their minds won't let them engage in the pocket the same way ever again.
taking something that allows him to recover faster. That way he's able to train more and get better.
Here's where it gets really serious. And when Joe Rogan tells you to be careful about head trauma, you should probably listen. Rogan, who's been commentating on combat sports for decades and has witnessed pretty much everything that can happen to a fighter, offered what might be the most cautionary reaction of anyone. After watching Paul get knocked out cold and suffer that double jaw fracture, Rogan urged him to think long and seriously about the long-term
He didn't get knocked out cold now. He got knocked out. Cold would have been... Nah. He was just like, bow! Ooh, whoa!
consequences of continuing at this level. And this isn't just about the obvious injury we can see. Rogan emphasized that the punishment Paul absorbed, especially those thunderous headshots from a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua, carries neurological risks that accumulate over time and simply aren't worth it for someone who has other options in life.
Hold on a second. Shout out to the 4 viewers over here in the chat. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you put your W's in the chat. If you like what you see, press the like button, subscribe, share. And then they got some new thing on YouTube. I think it's like Hype Stars or something like that. Apparently that's important. So hit that too. You know what I mean? Let's keep the video going. I appreciate y'all. It's your favorite dark skinned friend with a beard. Unity. It's funny because I'm looking over here at the chat, but I know I should be looking here because that's where y'all look at my face at. I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
He described that final knockout blow as carrying the force of 10 punches concentrated into one devastating impact, which is a terrifying way to think about what that does to your brain slamming against your skull.
People need respect him. I don't say that only because I'm fighting here in the company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know. I mean, every single fight go inside the ring, everybody needs respect.
Now here's something that sounds absolutely wild and has people questioning whether Paul is being serious
That's side
or
by
just
side.
stirring up
Crazy.
controversy like he's built his entire career doing. According to reports circulating online, Paul has allegedly claimed he's considering going on a cycle of steroids as a way to silence the long-standing accusations that he's been using performance-enhancing drugs throughout his boxing career. The logic, if you can call it that, is supposedly that by showing people the visible difference between his natural physique and what he'd look like enhanced, he could somehow prove his past performances were achieved without chemical assistance. Critics are calling this claim absolutely reckless and inflammatory, the kind of statement that could land him in serious trouble with boxing commissions and potentially open him up to legal issues.
All right.
Given boxing's extremely strict anti-doping rules and the serious consequences tied to PED use, including suspensions, fines, and having results overturned, many observers remain deeply skeptical about whether Paul would actually...
Look at that side by side. Does anybody really believe, or did he really think that he was going to put in... Anthony Johnson was just looking down on him like, I'm going to stomp this little ant. And he looking up at him like, I don't even know. That's funny.
follow through on this.
Don't ever give a monkeys about what anyone says, because they sit at home, they're full of negativity. It's like the people that are negative towards someone like Jake Paul. Look what he's done with his life. Do you know what I mean? So yes, it took AJ a couple of rounds to get hold of him, and then he knocked him spark out and broke his jaw. It was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
You see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back and work on with the team, and onwards and upwards.
Let's break down exactly what happened in that ring, because the details are honestly shocking when you hear them laid out. It was the 6th round when Joshua landed that career-altering right hand with the kind of precision and power that only elite heavyweights can generate. Paul crumpled to the canvas immediately, and you could tell something was seriously wrong just by looking at his face after the referee stopped the contest. The impact fractured his jaw in 2 separate places, creating what doctors call a double break, and the damage was immediately visible to anyone watching. Paul was taken directly to a Miami hospital where surgeons performed extensive surgery to repair the fractures. The procedure involved fitting 2 titanium plates, one on each side of his jaw, to hold the broken bones in place while they heal. But here's the part that really drives home how severe this was. They had to remove several teeth as part of the surgical procedure. Multiple teeth gone because of one punch. Paul posted updates from his hospital bed showing the swelling, the misalignment, all of it visible and honestly difficult to look at. Now let's address the elephant in the room that conspiracy theorists keep bringing up online, because this brutal knockout made one thing crystal clear beyond any shadow of doubt. This fight was absolutely real and definitely not fixed or scripted in any way. Eddie Hearn directly and forcefully refuted all the claims that the bout was staged or
See, this is what I wanted to get into. The first part of the first video was supposed to be saying all the stuff that this video was saying. So here we go.
determined.
pointing out that this was a fully sanctioned professional boxing contest regulated by official boxing authorities and subject to legal betting markets around the world. Think about the logistics of trying to fix a fight like this with so many regulatory bodies, cameras, officials, and international betting markets involved. It's not just unethical. It's literally illegal and completely implausible to pull off without dozens of people being in on the conspiracy. But here's the most obvious evidence that this was completely real.
He do got a big ass head, though.
Paul's double jaw fracture requiring immediate surgical intervention with titanium plates and the removal of teeth. As Hearn put it bluntly, you simply don't fake that kind of injury. And there's no way Paul would agree to have his jaw broken in 2 places and undergo major facial surgery just to sell some conspiracy theory about the fight being predetermined. So there you have it. Jake Paul suffered a career-defining knockout that left him with a reconstructed jaw, months of recovery ahead, and serious questions about whether he'll ever step back into a professional ring again. This isn't just about one fight or one injury. This is about the brutal reality of what happens when YouTube fame meets heavyweight power and the long-term consequences that come with trying to compete at the elite level of professional boxing. Joe Rogan's warning about neurological damage, Eddie Hearn's concerns about the psychological impact of severe injuries, and Paul's own reported...
Hold on. Let me look at the chat real quick. Good thing he was wearing flame pants because Joshua knocked the fire from his body. Fire! Hot like fire! Y'all funny. Good one, Star. Good one.
Exhaustion all point to the same conclusion. Sometimes the smartest thing a fighter can do is know when to walk away.
Yep.
Here's my question for you, and I want you to drop this in the comments. Do you think Jake Paul should retire from boxing after this devastating knockout, or should he take time to recover and come back stronger? Are we watching the end of his boxing career, or just the beginning of a comeback story? If this breakdown helped you understand what really happened in that ring and what it means for Paul's future, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because the fallout from this fight is just getting started.
Shout out at UFC Drama Daily for this video. Very much more informative and interesting than the first part. The first video that was in the video. In this video, in this stream. You feel me?
I'll see you in the next one. What makes this situation even more complex is the financial implications that nobody's talking about. Jake Paul's boxing career has generated hundreds of millions in revenue across pay-per-view sales, sponsorship deals, merchandise, and streaming contracts. His fights consistently break viewership records and create massive betting action worldwide. But here's the harsh reality. A double jaw fracture and potential retirement doesn't just end his fighting career. It potentially destroys a multi-million-dollar business empire built around his boxing persona. Sources close to his management team are reportedly scrambling to figure out how to pivot his brand if he can't return to the ring. The Jake Paul boxing machine employs dozens of people, from trainers and sparring partners to marketing teams and content creators. One knockout punch didn't just shatter his jaw, it potentially dismantled an entire economic ecosystem. But let's dive deeper into the medical nightmare that Paul is currently living through, because the recovery process from this type of injury is absolutely brutal and way more complicated than most people realize. When you suffer a double jaw fracture requiring titanium plates, you're not just dealing with pain and swelling for a few weeks. We're talking about months of liquid diets, speech therapy, and the constant risk of complications. The titanium plates need time to integrate with the bone tissue, and any impact or stress during that healing period could require additional surgery. Paul's doctors have reportedly told him that even after the bones heal completely, his jaw will never be exactly the same as it was before. The bite alignment might be permanently altered, and there could be ongoing issues with jaw function that affect everything from eating to speaking clearly. This isn't like recovering from a broken arm where you're back to normal in a few months. Facial reconstruction changes you permanently. Here's where the story takes an even darker turn that has medical experts genuinely worried. Multiple neurologists who reviewed footage of the knockout have expressed serious concerns about the potential for traumatic brain injury beyond what we can see externally. Dr. Sarah Martinez, a sports medicine specialist who works with professional fighters, explained that when you see someone's jaw broken in 2 places from a single punch, the rotational force transmitted to the brain is absolutely massive. The human skull isn't designed to absorb that kind of impact, and the brain essentially bounces around inside the cranium like a pinball. She pointed out that Paul was unconscious for several minutes after the knockout,
first part,
which indicates a significant concussion at minimum. But the real concern is something called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, which develops over time from repeated head trauma. Even if Paul feels fine mentally right now, the cumulative damage from this fight combined with all his previous bouts could manifest as cognitive problems, memory issues, or personality changes years down the road. The psychological warfare aspect of this situation is something that's flying completely under the radar, but it's absolutely fascinating when you understand the dynamics at play. Anthony Joshua didn't just beat Jake Paul physically, he systematically dismantled him mentally throughout the entire fight. Boxing insiders who were ringside described how Joshua was talking to Paul during clinches, making comments about his power and questioning whether Paul really belonged in there with elite heavyweights. By the 3rd round, you could see Paul's body language changing. His shoulders were getting heavy, his movement was becoming more labored, and most telling of all, he was starting to flinch before punches even landed. That's the sign of a fighter who's been mentally broken down and is anticipating punishment rather than looking for opportunities to win. When Joshua finally landed that devastating right hand in the 6th round, Paul was already defeated psychologically. The knockout was just the physical manifestation of what had been happening mentally for the previous 3 rounds. Now here's something absolutely wild that's emerged from the aftermath, and it shows just how deep the rabbit hole of Jake Paul's boxing ambitions actually went. According to sources within his training camp, Paul had been secretly working with former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson on developing what they called killer instinct for over 6 months leading up to this fight. Tyson, who knows a thing or two about devastating knockout power, had been trying to teach Paul how to channel aggression and bad intentions in the ring rather than just relying on athleticism and technical skills. But here's the ironic part. Tyson reportedly warned Paul multiple times that fighting elite heavyweights like Joshua was fundamentally different from anything he'd experienced before. Tyson explained that when you step in there with someone who's been knocking out world-class fighters for over a decade, all the YouTube fame and social media followers in the world don't protect you from getting seriously hurt. The fact that Paul ignored these warnings and took the fight anyway shows either incredible confidence or dangerous delusion, depending on how you look at it.
What y'all think? Extreme confidence or dangerous delusion? I go for dangerous delusion. You feel me? That boy, wow.
Ripple effects throughout the entire influencer boxing scene have been absolutely massive, and promoters are quietly panicking about what this means for future crossover events. Jake Paul wasn't just another YouTube personality dabbling in boxing anymore. He had become the legitimate face of influencer combat sports, the guy who proved that social media stars could transition into real professional fighting and actually compete at a high level. His success opened doors for dozens of other content creators to pursue boxing careers and convinced major promoters to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in crossover events. But this knockout and potential retirement has sent shockwaves through that entire ecosystem. Promoters are now questioning whether they've been putting these influencers in over their heads, and there's genuine concern about liability issues if someone gets permanently injured or worse. Insurance companies are reportedly reviewing their policies for influencer boxing events, and some major venues are reconsidering hosting these types of fights altogether. What's really interesting is how...
All right, we get the point. Well, the Logan brothers, they did not get arrested. And it's crazy, though, because there's a lot of stuff that has transpired, like I said, since this has happened. So he get a broke jaw, but Anthony Joshua will go over to Africa and get in a freaking car accident where 2 of his friends die, and he got minor injuries. It just don't sit right. It's a lot of conspiracy theories going on. Anyways, y'all put it in the chats, in the comments, what y'all think. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button. Hit the hype stars button. And I'm about to go find something funny to go react to. You feel me? I appreciate each and every one of y'all on the YouTube stream. Thank you, Miss Star. Thank you, Miss Onya. Let me see right quick on my Twitch screen. Like my dog T-Mess sings. Yeah, he thought he was Iron Mark, but he was not. Even Mike Tyson said, what do you call it? That he could have knocked him out, but he took a 10 extra million not to hit him, not to knock him out. Crazy, huh? Yeah, delusion. He thought he was him. Yeah, man, he him against somebody that's not really him. He came up against somebody that was him and got hemmed. Oh, Heavenly Father, save my jaw, for it has been knocked off. I'm high. Anyways, man, I appreciate y'all logging in, tapping in with your favorite dark-skinned friend with a beard. Unity. And until next time, we'll find something else to get on. All right, y'all.